Angel Reese's mother has gone on the offensive and called out Caitlyn Clark fans for pointing out attendance. And I just don't see the point in this. I don't see the point in this.
It's just a fact. She is, it's more than a fact. She is not good at layups. But I was looking at her stats. I jotted some down right here, and she shoots an abysmal 39% from the field. She shot below 50% on shots less than 5 feet away, which is bad. And even worse than that is that shots from 5 to 9 feet, 13%.
Good luck finding affordable tickets for the Indiana Fever preseason game against Brazil at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Seats at the arena for the May 4th matchup between the Indiana Fever and Brazil were first offered to season ticket holders and a few top donors. Didn't take long for them to be gone.
We're going to point this out because Angel decided to come out and she said, I'm going to play the victim. Or, well, the victim, yeah, and the villain. People are watching for me too. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Angel Reese, going home to her alma mater, LSU, plays against the Brazilian national team in front of 6,373 people. 6,373 people. This is an arena that holds 13,000 people.
Caitlyn Clark, in that, has become arguably the most influential basketball player in the world, both on the men's and the women's side.
What truly happens when a modern college legend, a reigning national champion, makes their grand return to the hallowed ground where they forged their legacy? You instinctively picture a scene electric with anticipation, waves of thunderous applause crashing down, maybe even a completely sold-out arena pulsating with shared energy and pride. It's the hero's welcome, the stuff of sports dreams. But when Angel Reese, a player who boldly positioned herself as a central figure drawing eyes to women's basketball, stepped back onto the court at LSU's Pete Maravich Assembly Center as a professional, the reality painted a picture far more subdued, almost unsettlingly quiet. Instead of that imagined deafening roar celebrating her return, there was an undeniable echoing emptiness, immediately raising difficult questions about the powerful narrative she herself had helped construct around her influence.
There is no argument to be made. We heard it from Chinea Nwumike as well. We've heard it from a lot of people. Like, there's no argument to be made that there is a needle. There is a needle.
The famed Pete Maravich Assembly Center, affectionately known as the PMAC, is a venue capable of holding over 13,000 passionate fans, a cauldron of noise when filled to the brim. It's a place that reverberated with energy during Reese's phenomenal championship run with the LSU Tigers. Fans packed it regularly, draped in purple and gold, creating an intimidating atmosphere for visiting teams. Yet for this preseason matchup featuring the Chicago Sky against the Brazilian national team, Reese's official professional homecoming, the official attendance numbers told a starkly different story. Just 6,373 people showed up. That figure represents less than half the arena's capacity. The visual was jarring. Entire sections, usually buzzing with activity, sat completely vacant. Broadcast cameras couldn't avoid panning across these swaths of empty seats, making the low turnout impossible to ignore. What made this scene even more profoundly baffling were the ticket prices. Access wasn't restricted by exorbitant costs, quite the opposite.
You have literally got a parent of a player in the WNBA flexing winning a college ring, while instead of, because people are calling out attendance. These people are calling out attendance, and the only reason people are calling out attendance is because Angel said the whole people watching for me too.
On several resale platforms, fans could have secured a seat for as little as $11. Let that sink in. $11, a price point often cheaper than catching a matinee movie or grabbing fast food. Despite this incredibly low barrier to entry, thousands upon thousands of seats remain stubbornly unfilled. The anticipated atmosphere of a triumphant, nostalgic return felt strangely hollow, significantly overshadowed by the sheer, unavoidable volume of empty chairs silently witnessing the game. The buzz was missing, replaced by a surprising quiet.
I saw this thread on Twitter. I was shocked by it. I was pleasantly shocked and surprised. I thought it was so cool and so savage.
This muted reception stood in stark, almost uncomfortable contrast to the confident declarations Reese herself had made just weeks before this homecoming game. In interviews and public statements, she had actively positioned herself right alongside the universally recognized phenomenon, Caitlyn Clark, claiming she too was a fundamental reason for the unprecedented surge in viewership and attention towards women's basketball. "It's because of me too," she had stated directly, leaving no room for ambiguity as she asserted her significant role in the sport's rapidly growing popularity. This was a bold claim, one that naturally set expectations sky high. It implied that her presence, her star power alone, could ignite substantial fan interest and drive attendance wherever she played. Her return to LSU, the very epicenter of her collegiate stardom, should logically have served as the perfect, undeniable validation of that powerful assertion. It was set up to be a slam-dunk confirmation of her draw. Instead, the stark reality of the half-empty arena delivered a jarring, almost discordant counter-narrative. It suggested quite powerfully that the relationship between her perceived influence and her actual ability to fill seats might be far more complicated, perhaps less direct than her statements implied.
Angel Reese fans, LSU fans, all of you who tell us, oh my God, what a big superstar. Oh my God, transcendent. Oh my goodness, generational. Oh my goodness, so on and so forth. You guys do all the talking, all the yapping. Twitter fingers turn to can't even show up and buy ticket fingers.
As images capturing the sparsely populated stands inevitably began to circulate across social media platforms, the online reaction was predictably swift, sharp, and pointedly critical. Users immediately began questioning the narrative. How could a player frequently discussed as a major game-changing draw fail to attract a significant crowd back to her old stomping grounds, especially when tickets were being offered at such astonishingly low prices? The math simply didn't seem to add up for many observers. But perhaps the most notable and certainly the most discussed response in the initial fallout didn't originate from sports analysts or rival fans in the way one might expect. Instead, it came directly and forcefully from Angel Reese's own mother. Taking to Twitter, she launched a defense that notably sidestepped the core issue of the disappointing attendance figures. Instead, she chose to aim her criticism squarely at detractors, widely interpreted by the online community as specifically targeting Caitlyn Clark's fanbase. Her tweet drew a sharp contrast, pitting fans supposedly celebrating attendance against those like her daughter, who were celebrating championship banners, concluding with the pointed lines, "We ain't the same, different year, same haters." This defensive strategy, however, seemed to spectacularly backfire.
Angel Reese is now quoted as saying, "I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person." She refuses to say Caitlyn Clark's name. "It's because of me too, and I want you to realize that."
Rather than quelling the burgeoning discussion or shifting the focus successfully, it inadvertently poured gasoline on the fire. It amplified the very awkwardness surrounding the low turnout by highlighting what many saw as a blatant attempt at deflection. Critics quickly pounced, pointing out the logical fallacy of comparing past collegiate achievements, championship banners, to present-day professional drawing power, attendance figures. They argued that the tweet not only failed to address the legitimate questions raised by the empty seats, but actually intensified the scrutiny, especially given that Reese herself had been the one to initiate the public conversation about her significant influence and draw. It framed the situation not as an unfortunate anomaly, but as a potentially sensitive point being defensively guarded. What was intended as a shield seemingly acted as a magnet for further criticism, hinting that the low numbers might have struck a nerve.
But people have not shown up to watch her play basketball, and that is a fact. Like, people do not really show up to watch Angel Reese play basketball. And I do think that there's not that there's a reason for it, but I do think that that can be, that's something that you can mention when the "people are watching for me too" statement has come out of her mouth.
And while this off-court drama unfolded, another significant challenge was brewing for Reese. This one centered squarely on her role on the hardwood as she embarked on her crucial second season in the WNBA. The questions swirling around Angel Reese weren't solely confined to the optics of arena attendance, they began to echo onto the basketball court itself. Her new head coach in Chicago, Tyler Marsh, publicly revealed strategic plans that signaled a potentially fundamental shift in how Reese would be utilized within the team's system. Reese, a player whose reputation was built brick by brick on her relentless dominance near the basket, her ferocious rebounding, her knack for securing putbacks, her physical presence in the paint, was being actively repositioned. The coaching staff envisioned her evolving into more of a stretch four. In practical terms, this meant a significant migration away from the low block, her traditional zone of operation where she thrived, pushing her further out towards the perimeter. Her new responsibilities would involve taking more mid-range jump shots and executing off-ball cuts, demanding a different skill set than the one that made her a college star and an impactful WNBA rookie. While Reese publicly expressed confidence in her ability to adapt to this new challenge, stating a determination to take the shots she was working on, the strategy immediately raised some cautionary flags among observers familiar with her game. Her documented struggles with shooting efficiency throughout her career became a focal point. During her rookie season, she posted alarmingly low field goal percentages, particularly from close range. Statistics showed she ranked near the very bottom of the entire WNBA in scoring efficiency on shots taken within 5 feet of the rim, a critical area for traditional post players. Asking her to consistently score from even further out seemed on the surface counterintuitive to leveraging her established strengths. This significant tactical shift wasn't happening in isolation either.
By contrast, Reese's shooting woes drew criticism. She finished 30th in two-point percentage at 40%. God. 29th in three-point percentage, 18.8. And her effective field goal percentage was a league low 39.5%. That's crazy as hell. And I don't want to hear nothing about a big. We're going to take a look at something. Even from the free throw line, often a reliable scoring source for bigs, she landed 27th. Considering most of Reese's shots come from close to the rim,
it was clearly designed, at least in part, to create more operating space in the paint for her highly touted rookie teammate Camila Cardoso, a player known for her efficient scoring near the basket. The underlying message seemed to be a strategic bet on Cardoso as the primary interior threat, potentially altering Reese's path to impact. Furthermore, moving Reese away from the glass inherently threatened to diminish her most signature contribution, her elite rebounding, especially on the offensive end. Those second-chance points and the double-double statistics that had become synonymous with her identity could become harder to achieve if she was spending more time floating on the perimeter. It was a calculated gamble by the coaching staff, one that placed Reese squarely in a position of needing rapid skill development in areas previously considered weaknesses, right at a time when questions about her off-court draw were also intensifying. This convergence of challenges set the stage for a pivotal season.
a lot of Angel Reese fans are not basketball fans, and they are proving it. They proved it last night without a shadow of a doubt. That was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen.
And just as these questions about Reese's trajectory intensified, her most prominent collegiate rival was carving out a path defined by seemingly unstoppable momentum. While Angel Reese found herself navigating this complex mix of disappointing homecoming crowds and a potentially challenging role adjustment in Chicago, her former college adversary, Caitlyn Clark, was simultaneously experiencing a trajectory that felt like it belonged to a different stratosphere altogether. Clark's arrival in the WNBA wasn't just met with enthusiasm, it triggered a seismic shift in the league's landscape, creating a phenomenon rarely seen in professional sports, male or female. Her games playing for the Indiana Fever didn't just sell well, they became instant guaranteed sellouts regardless of the opponent or the city hosting the game. The demand was immediate and overwhelming. Ticket prices on secondary markets didn't just inch upwards, they skyrocketed, often reaching hundreds, sometimes even thousands of dollars for regular season games, let alone preseason exhibitions. This wasn't just hype, it was tangible economic force.
And then here we have today, basically clapping back at all of that and proving that they know that they are the moment, they are the Showtime team, they are the biggest team currently in the WNBA. This kind of stuff is not only good for the Indiana Fever, it's good for the entire WNBA.
The surge in interest was so pronounced, so undeniable, that multiple WNBA teams took the unprecedented step of preemptively moving their scheduled home games against Clark and the Fever. They shifted contests away from their regular, smaller arenas to much larger NBA venues, anticipating crowds that would dwarf their typical attendance figures, a direct acknowledgement of Clark's unparalleled drawing power. The television networks responded in kind. Clark's debut WNBA game didn't just perform well, it shattered existing viewership records, pulling in millions of viewers and achieving ratings the league hadn't witnessed in decades. Every subsequent televised game continued to draw significantly higher numbers than typical WNBA broadcasts. The merchandise market told a similar story of unprecedented demand. Clark's Indiana Fever jersey achieved the remarkable feat of becoming the best-selling rookie jersey in the history of the league before she had even played a single professional minute. Her merchandise consistently outsold established stars by massive margins. The Caitlyn Clark effect wasn't just a media narrative, it was a verifiable, quantifiable force, visibly reshaping the league's visibility and economic footing with every game she played, every record she broke, and every arena she filled to capacity.
They did not even halfway fill that place up last night. So the narrative about people are watching for Me Too, people are showing up for Me Too, that narrative is, don't let anybody try to blow smoke up your ass.
The juxtaposition of these two emerging careers paints an incredibly vivid, almost cinematic contrast, highlighting two distinctly parallel paths unfolding within the same league spotlight. On one side stands Caitlyn Clark, whose burgeoning superstardom feels almost passively validated by an overwhelming avalanche of objective, undeniable data. Packed arenas, record-shattering television ratings, unprecedented merchandise sales, and even rival teams altering their logistics to accommodate her impact. All this occurs while Clark herself largely maintains a focused, performance-oriented public persona, letting the staggering results speak volumes on their behalf. Her influence isn't something she needs to proclaim, it's a tangible reality reshaping the sport around her. On the other side stands Angel Reese, an equally compelling figure who proactively and vocally asserted her comparable standing as a major draw, a co-architect of the new era of women's basketball popularity. Yet when presented with the ideal opportunity to substantiate that claim, a highly anticipated homecoming game in her collegiate stronghold, the tangible evidence, the actual turnout, fell dramatically short of expectations. This was further complicated by defensive reactions from her inner circle when the discrepancy was pointed out, and compounded by concurrent questions about a significant, potentially challenging shift in her on-court role mandated by her coaching staff. Where Clark's influence manifests as a self-evident force, driving markets and filling massive NBA-sized stadiums seemingly effortlessly, Reese's claimed impact appeared to buckle under the weight of expectation when put to the test in what should have been the most supportive environment imaginable. One narrative is being powerfully written by undeniable results cascading across the league, while the other seems increasingly caught in a complex interplay between confident assertion, conflicting evidence, and external pressures. The numbers, the empty seats, and the strategic shifts tell a story distinct from the initial claims.
There was over 6,800 seats still available, and some people were saying, by the way, that literally there were some $15 tickets out there.
And so, Angel Reese finds herself standing at a fascinating, perhaps pivotal crossroads early in her professional career. The celebrated champion's return to LSU wasn't the triumphant, validating fairy tale moment many had envisioned, or perhaps even expected based on her own pronouncements. Instead, it starkly revealed a potential uncomfortable disconnect between her perceived marketability, amplified by endorsements and media presence, and the tangible reality reflected in actual ticket sales, even at bargain prices. Simultaneously, she is grappling with a fundamental strategic shift in her on-court responsibilities, a move away from the paint that challenges her most established game-changing strengths, her rebounding prowess and interior scoring, and demands rapid improvement in areas where her past performance, statistically speaking, has been demonstrably weak. The compelling narrative she helped champion, the idea that people are watching for me too, faced a significant public reality check that day in Baton Rouge, echoed by the quiet in those unfilled sections of the PMAC. The critical question now looms large. Can Angel Reese successfully adapt her game to thrive in this new perimeter-oriented role, silencing doubts about her shooting efficiency and finding new ways to impact winning? Or will the noticeable gap between the considerable spotlight she rightfully commands and the level of dedicated fan turnout she currently seems to generate continue to be a defining tension in her professional journey? The ultimate answers won't be found in bold declarations or defensive tweets, but forged under the relentless pressure and bright, revealing lights of the WNBA court game after demanding game.